Okay, guys, I'm here to give you guys hopefully a pretty easy to understand and comprehensive overview on configuring a MIDI controller for your Katana 100, but more specifically the artist, because that's what I've got. And there are a couple of features that MIDI really makes handy for the artist, and that is the bank control and the solo boost toggle. Now, you can easily do this with a simple 2-button foot switch. Laney makes a little 2-button switch that has 2 latching switches, a TRS cable, and you plug that TRS cable into the back of the amp to the tip ring jack, and you can go into the editor and configure each of those buttons to toggle the bank A and bank B, and then you can toggle solo boost on and off. But for this video, I'm going to be showing MIDI control. And it's pretty simple once you wrap your head around how MIDI is configured if you've never done it before. I've got a Morningstar 6-button Mark II controller here. It's not the Pro version, but this one gets the job done, and it's way smaller and more compact, so it's a lot more pedalboard friendly. So here we go. I've got the Tone Studio settings open with the MIDI settings, and I've also got the Morningstar editor open, and this has all of my A, B, C, D, and E, and F right here correspond to the 6 buttons on the controller. Now, the first thing that will be different if you're trying to configure your artist referencing my video is the delay switch CC command. I've changed that to 3, and that was just because I was messing around with the my Waza tube amp expander. I use the same MIDI controller on that. I was messing around with the MIDI settings without trying to change much, and I know that it has a delay MIDI command, and it's on channel 3, so I put the Katana on channel 3 using the same RX channel 16, which is kind of the master global channel that the MIDI controller is talking on, and it worked. So I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to leave that there. So yours will be set to CC number 18. You can change it to 3 to make everything align with how I have my settings, and I'm going to upload the 6 JSON files for the preset so that you don't have to manually click in the Morningstar editor. All you have to do is just download those 6 files, and then in the editor right here you'll see a load preset from file. Based on which button you want to configure, you can load the JSON file for the command you want for assigned to that button. So the first thing you're going to do is on the Katana, it should be channel 16. I believe that's Boss's RX channel. So the RX channel is, to kind of simplify this, it is the main channel that all the commands flow through. Now, if you want to, say, have another device, like, for example, I have the Golden Boy set up. It has a completely different RX channel. It might have the same CC numbers, but that's fine because it's talking on a completely different channel. So for the Boss, I believe it's 16 by default, but don't quote me on that. But mine is set to 16. I might have changed it just because over here you can see on the MIDI channel, I have the TAE set to 16 because I believe that's the default channel for the tube amp expander. Okay, so let's get going here. The CC values are listed right here, and you can change these to whatever you want in the little drop-down menu. But the CC number is specific to that effect. So you have like your drive boost, modulation, FX, delay, reverb, center turn, switch, etc. These can all be customized to any CC number you want, but for simplicity, I'm just kind of leaving all of them, aside from delay, at the default values. Now, over here in the Morningstar editor, let's go back to the delay. So that's channel 3, and I'm going to go over to my delay button, and you will see that in the MIDI channel I have 16. Now I specifically named this. Yours, if you've downloaded the Morningstar editor, this won't be named. You can give your channel's a custom name. I did this just so I could easily identify it as the Tube Amp Expanders channel. But in the drop-down menu, you can literally select from any of the 16 available channels. So everything on all of these presets always has to be on channel 16, because again, that's the channel that the entire amplifier's MIDI commands talk on. If you pick a different channel, the command won't work. So every single one of these you'll see has channel 16. Well, that one's empty. Has channel 16 on the MIDI channel. So delay. The first thing that you want to do is I'll just pretend like message 3 and 4 are the message 1 and 2. So I'm setting it up for the first time. For all of your effects, they're all going to be a press action. So when you press it, it's going to send a CC command. So you're going to do press. The type is a CC, control change. And then once you do that, it asks you, what CC number are you sending? Well, over here, you can see the CC number for delay is number 3. So you set that, CC number 3. The CC value on MIDI, anything from 1 to, I believe, 64 is on, and 65 to 120, whatever, is off. So you can pick from any of those numbers. One, just for simplicity, you can have like 1 or 2, like a really low value, will turn an effect on. Anything on a high value will turn it off. So you can pick like 0 to 127. Now you pick, so our first command that we want to do, we're configuring this press to turn it on. So it's going to be a low number. So just number 7, for example. It's below 64 or 65. So it's going to activate CC number 3, which is our delay over here. MIDI channel, channel 16, because that's the boss's channel. And the position, this is very important. We're treating this like a latching switch. So position 1 is going to latch. So if you do both, it's going to try to do a momentary action. And we don't want that for our effects. So position 1, toggle it once. What happens? It sends CC value number 3, the delay, of a low value, telling it to turn on. So that's going to turn on our delay. This selection, or this action right here, is complete. At this point, if we saved it and you hit the delay switch on the controller, it'll turn the delay on, but we need a way to turn it off, just like a stomp box. That's how I like to run my effects. So we're going to do another press command. We're going to do another CC. And as you can see from above, all we're going to do is, the only thing we're going to change it to position 2, turning it off. CC number 3, value above 64, so just a really high value. And that right there is going to toggle the command off. So now that you have this, you can come up with a name. Up here, the short name, delay on, delay off. So when you toggle it on, it turns it on. When you toggle it again, it turns it off. Now, this can kind of get confusing because if you change to a different channel or patch on your amp, these values don't change. So you may have delay on one patch and then you change over to another one. Well, the delay itself won't be on because you didn't set that up in the patch, or maybe you did, but if you didn't set it up in the patch, your MIDI controller will say delay on. So the display on the MIDI controller won't be accurate. You'll have to kind of hit it once or twice to kind of reset it. That's confusing and I don't like that, but that's just kind of how it is when you're going from having certain effects on to another patch that has certain effects off. It would be cool if we could set up the amp to have a global effect on or off, so that if you change from bank A to bank B, your certain effects ignore channel changes. I believe the Fractal FM3, my Fractal FM3 does that. So anyways, So that in a nutshell is how to toggle your effects. And I've got the same for the chorus. You see here, that's CC number 14. Over here, the modulation, that's how I have it set in the amp, is CC 14. So I'm going to close this and I'm going to go show you guys, you artist owners, how we're going to toggle between bank A and bank B and solo boost on and off with the MIDI controls. Now, again, you can use these little 2-button latching switch. This thing right here, you can use one of these, but I don't like having to have a power adapter connecting to that thing, and I really kind of don't like the way the buttons kind of feel mushy. I think it's a really great switch, but it's kind of mushy. And the fact that we can do this on an existing MIDI controller, why not? So, just for example here, I'm going to toggle the delay on and off, and you'll see on the Tone Studio, the delay turns on and off. Same for the chorus, on and off. And now we're going to show you how to turn solo boost on and off, just like that, and how to go between bank A and bank B, just like that. Okay, so in order to do this, you have to go over to the Assign section, and this is where we're going to use this is what we're going to assign to our CC commands. So GAF, FC, FS1, and FS2. Now you can have these set to either one. It doesn't matter. We're going to program this with MIDI channels, so it doesn't matter. But if you want to toggle solo boost or bank A, B, these are the two settings that you would pick from, and you can have any of these options that we can configure with MIDI. But for me, I like to be able to toggle the solo boost and toggle between bank A and bank B. And as you can see, I basically have my high gain channels on bank A and identical clean channels. These are 4 identical clean settings for bank B. So no matter which one of these gain channels I'm on, I can always toggle my bank button to go to a clean setting, and it's the same clean sound every single time. This is how I like to run mine live, because I might have songs where I need a crunch channel and I'll go to the crunch setting. But then if I need to do a clean setting, I can just toggle the bank and instantly go to the same clean sound every single time. So I really like doing that. And the way that we're going to do this, again, every single preset, every single preset has to be, you manually have to set this to the solo and bank A and bank B. Make sure that you have the exact same setting for FS1 and FS2 for every single patch, because if you switch these around, your controller will only work one time you press the button. You press it again and it's not going to do anything, because it's going to be sending the wrong MIDI command on the second press. So just for simplicity, just make sure that you have whatever function you want FS1 and FS2 set to. Make sure that you set the exact same function on every single patch. You can go through these patches, every single one has it set exactly the same way. Now, MIDI settings. We have specific settings for FS1 and FS2, 83 and 84. Now, here's where things get different from how we configure our normal effects. These are not a position 1, position 2 command. These are a both command, because I guess that's how the FS1 and FS2 commands work, almost like a momentary switch. So this is how we configure this. Again, it's going to be a press command, it's going to be a CC, and because we've got the solo boost set to, FS1, that is CC number 83. So here we have CC number 83 in the editor. Value, again, low value is going to be our first toggle, high value is going to be the second one. Same MIDI channel, just like everything else. But instead of position 1 or 2, we're going to do both. And then we're just going to copy that and just have the exact same command down here, but we're going to have a different CC value that's high so that it's going to toggle it either on or off. And just give it a name, solo on, solo off. Really, I mean, it would probably, tell you what, I'm just going to go ahead and do this. That way no confusion if I'm on another channel and it still says solo on, but the actual solo boost isn't on. Anyways, so that's how you configure FS1, FS2, exact same way. Wait, this channel. It's 2 the exact same way. CC number 84 because that corresponds to FS2 channel 84 over here. Again, low value, high value, position both on both messages. Give it a name, channel. That's pretty much it. So there's a whole lot more that you can do with this, depending on exactly kind of what function you want to do. And I think that there are a lot of extra hidden MIDI commands that I saw on a Roland page. I didn't look too hard into all of the different CCs that are available, but these were the ones that I wanted to do, because it wasn't apparent how to do a bank toggle or a solo toggle because they didn't have their own dedicated CC values over here. You had to set them up in the GAFS assign area right there. And I think that's it. There's really not much more to it. Just the main thing that you have to make sure that you've done is match RX channel with your MIDI channel here on every single one of your presets. The channel never changes. It's always channel 16 because that's what the amp is talking on. Your CC values, you're always going to have a low value and you're always going to have a high value to toggle between active and deactivated. And yeah, that's kind of it. It's really nice to be able to have exactly what I want to do on one compact controller like this, instead of having to tap dance on the GAFC. And I mean, the GAFC works and it can do some cool tricks, and I know that the EX has a couple of other tricks up its sleeve, but it still can't compete with a dedicated MIDI command switching program, because you can literally tell it exactly what you want every single button to do without having to hold down buttons. Nobody's got time for that when you're playing live, especially if you want to hit a solo. No one wants to hold down a button to do a solo boost. They just want to hit it and go, hit it again, turn it off. That's it. So yeah, that's about all there is to setting up MIDI. I think Morningstar make a killer controller. This thing's built like a tank, and the editor is very easy to use, assuming you know kind of how MIDI works. But once you wrap your head around this, it's really easy, and it becomes one of those things where now that I know how MIDI works, it's basically what do I want this amp to do, not what limitations are there based on these commands. Is what all can I do. If I know the CC command, you can get it to do it, and there's a lot more here than just these. So hope this helps, and I think this is a fantastic amp, and it can do a ton of stuff. This is my Mark II head that I got. Picked it up for like $400 on Reverb, B stock, just killer deal. I've always really liked my Mark I combo. Just kind of a big old heavy thing to drag around to gigs, but yeah. So I hope this helps, and I will do some videos on this thing here coming up soon. Every day I plug into this thing, I make a lot of tweaks and changes, just really fine-tuning it. But so far, I really like the extra features that they've added to the Mark II. The variation switch, that's really cool. I like that you can have multiple effects on, controlling from the control panel with the dual shaft knobs. Really like that. And the global tone shaping is also really cool. I like that. So, and another thing I like is the line out I've got, I'm basically just running the amp with a line out into the aux stomp box, and sounds awesome. But yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. Hopefully this helps. Guys, take care and get to programming. I'll talk to y'all later. See ya. Alright, and here is the high gain Jubilee patch. This is with the boost off. And this is with the boost on. And the clean channel. Delay. Chorus. And then back to the high gain channel. Still some tweaking to go on the levels and stuff like that, but you get the gist.